Hey there, Racer Rob here with Integra Auto Care, better known as a car doctor. And today's patient is a 2003 Volkswagen Jetta. And I'm making this video because this is a prime example of how good communication as a shop owner. So I want to educate my fellow technicians, especially troubleshooting these crazy complex cars, and customers as well, how things can quickly go wrong in auto repair if you don't communicate properly. Because what I like to tell my customers and works is we're on the same side of the table. So this customer bought this as a used car, which you have to be careful because a lot of times cars are traded in because they have a lot of problems. So we have a lot of customers that'll say, oh man, I don't want to spend, can't blame them, $1,000 to fix a vehicle. I'm just going to trade it in and let the dealership mess with it. Well, a lot of times, not all dealerships, but a lot just don't know about the problems and they just detail it up and put it back on the lot. So you're basically buying somebody else's problems. So be very careful buying a used car, have it pre-purchase inspected, and get a lot of miles on it, is what I tell my customers. So with that said, unfortunately this guy bought it from a smaller used car lot. Who knows what happened there, but he definitely bought some trouble. So he's had it in, we've repaired a catalytic converter, got him through DEQ, and then a week later he came back today, kind of upset and said, hey, my check engine light's on again. So how I handle that is say, okay, no problem. If it's something we've done, we'll warranty it. And then I go out and I check it out. And Murphy's Law, I go to check it out with, now I have the Rostec, see if I can't get those lights out of the way. I have the Rostec VCDS program, very powerful for diagnosing VWs and Audis. And I check it out and it's got 9 fault codes. So we pull the customer over and say, hey, you have 9 fault codes. There's a intermittent electrical problem going on. Of course, he says how much to fix it. And I tell the truth. It's like, man, intermittent electrical problems is the toughest. Let me spend a few hours, a couple $100, see what I can do. I found out if you just tell the truth, customers will trust you. So now I specialize in electronics, so I'm like, okay, 9 fault codes. Now from there, once again, Rostec software to check that out. I go to, here's a shot of my Veris workstation. I love that thing. So, just an idea of what other kind of diagnostic equipment it takes. So I go to, oh, you know what, here's a good idea. There's all the fault codes. So let's stick on here for a minute. As you can see, cylinder number 1, injector, circuit malfunction, intermittent, injector cylinder 3, cylinder 4, cylinder 2. So all the injectors, evap purge valve, open circuit intermittent, oxygen sensor, heating circuit short to ground, air pump relay, evap leak detection pump, short to ground, another oxygen sensor code. So the thing that I like to do is, okay, break this down, say, okay, here's all our fault codes. Let's go ahead and do, I use Mitchell On Demand. I'll get a straight out shot here. This is the wiring diagram that I print out. And fellow technicians, what I do is I cut them up and overlay them together. That helps me kind of see the format here. Then from there, I just used my electronic skills and used the wiring diagram, traced out all the powers. And if you notice, this is where it gets pretty interesting. Tricky but interesting. You'll notice the fuse 163 50 amp circuit, so we know that's feeding a lot, has a main power that goes over to the fuel pump relay. And notice how it goes through the fuel pump relay, latches when it's activated, comes down and powers up the fuse panel area. So here's our main power going in, powers up fuse 25, 34, 43, and 32. So what I do from there is I just say, okay, now what does that power up? So of course the fuel pump. Then let's find out what 34 powers up. I use a highlighter to help make it simple. I love making it simple. I grew up out in the country. Crankcase ventilation circuit. Now there was no code for that one, but follow me here. Stay with me. Fuse 43 comes in, goes down. There's a junction there, so let's follow this one down first. Oh, look at that. More junctions to power up. What does this one power up? Secondary error. There was a code for that. These come down. Leak detection pump, there was one for that. Now to make it easier, I don't want to make you guys dizzy. Evaporator emission canister purge, there was one for that. Maris airflow sensor, there was not a code for that, but don't let the simple things like that confuse you. Maybe that system didn't set a code fast enough, doesn't matter. Oxygen sensors are there, we got that going on. That's the Motronic engine control module. That's the brains of the operation. So let's follow this one, starting here. Go backwards. Fuel injectors, all four have a main power source. And that main power source will follow that up. Goes to there. Goes to there. And guess what that goes to? Oh, that goes to our fuse panel, which is then powered up by, you got it, the fuel pump. So once again, doing the overlay here, the highlighted yellow is everything that simple, well, I won't say simple fuse pump. That's another problem. A simple fuse pump relay is not so simple anymore. I'll show you here in a minute. So this is the wiring diagram. Like I said, I use Mitchell On Demand. Very helpful. I use the Rostec software to get my codes. Kind of cool here. Dealer shop name, Integrity Auto Care, Racer Rob's Dream Shop. Yes, it is my dream to work on this kind of stuff. That's why I went and got my electronics degree in the 90s, so I could handle this stuff. So once again, to kind of refresh where and why I'm in this video, it was a potential comeback. Customer had a CAT code, came back a week later. I simply showed him the truth, the printout, and I told him from there, electrical is very tough to give a discount with, so I usually say, hey, let me see what I can do for 2-3 hours, $200-300. And you know, if a customer's not willing to let you spend that time diagnosing it, then honestly, I wouldn't take it on. I mean, if you're a good shop and you know what you're doing, your time is worth that, and you're saving the customer from potentially going to another shop that doesn't diagnose. And guess what? No offense, but I see it happen. Oh, let's replace some of these components, type of thing. So that's how I handle diagnostics. And just tell the truth. It sets you free. Now, oh, here's a another thing you gotta watch out with troubleshooting today's cars. So I have all the tools, all the techniques, all the component locators. Here's awesome one, fuel pump relay number 4. Well, I won't show you on the vehicle because it's freaking buried, but I was like, man, I don't see anything there. So I went ahead and ordered up a fuel pump relay from the local parts store, and visually looking at it, it's very unique. How cool is that? It kind of shows you where all the different connectors go. And that, my friends, is not your average fuel pump relay. So what I did was, once I got the fuel pump relay, I then matched it up with the part number, and it was actually, if I remember right, it was in this location right here. So don't let you know, skewed information stop you from making repairs. So that's what I did. I ordered up a new one, matched it up, put it in there. So that is kind of like the overview of what I'm going to do. Is number 1, this is how I handle it. I tell the truth. I'm going to tell the customer, because this is intermittent and I was not able to duplicate it. I'm going to tell them I used a wiring diagram, troubleshoot it, traced it out in my experience to a potential defective fuel pump relay. That's a good decision to make, not an educated guess. It's actually a guess on diagnostics and troubleshooting. I'm going to replace the fuel pump relay. And even though customer's in a hurry, this guy just left, I told him, I said, hey, Mr. Customer, I found a potential defective fuel pump relay. I'm going to replace that, and I'm going to go ahead and drive this thing home tonight to see if I can get it dacked up again, make sure everything's good. So he appreciates that. I guess what I really have to say is I wasn't able to duplicate it, but I'm pretty confident, let's say 95%, that this is going to fix your troubles. And I'll put that on the work order. That way you're fair with the customer, you did the best you could, and you're 95% positive. So that's the way that I handle that. So once again, Racer Rob, Integra Auto Care over and out with the 2003 Volkswagen Jetta with 9 trouble codes and how I'm going to handle it. So that's it. And if you have any comments, feel free to let me know. And also check us out on the web, integraautocare.us, and Integra Auto Care, Home and Honest Mechanic in Hillsboro, Oregon. Okay, Racer Rob, over and out. And everyone have a great day. Bye now.